we're not able to wrap up before 5:45. I have to leave. I've got a Zoom meeting at 6 o'clock.
That'll be a problem.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It'll be pretty quick.
All right, we are live and good to go.
Okay. All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for attending the Township of Catamonigan Millbrook Travel Trails Advisory Committee. It's Monday, March 24th. Call the meeting to order. And we will proceed with the land acknowledgement. So we respectfully acknowledge that the Township of Catamonigan is located on the Treaty 20 Mississauga territory and the traditional territory of the Mississauga Shinnebec. We offer our gratitude to First Nations for their care and teachings about these lands. May we honor these teachings. On to item number 3, approval of the agenda. Does anybody have any additions to the agenda for this evening? No, can I have a motion to approve the agenda, please? John, seconded by all in favor? Do we need to verbally report the meetings, the approvals that we haven't, as we have in past meetings?
Sorry, verbally you recorded the
You
approvals.
had, and the last meeting I attended, my apologies for not attending the last month's meeting, so I guess it would have been January's meeting. You took a verbal count from everybody for approvals.
Oh, that was only because Meredith Carter was attending virtually, and I was not 100% certain about the procedurally, so no recorded votes at the meeting.
Okay,
So we're good to go.
so we have approval then of the agenda. Okay, thank you very much. I understand we, for item number 4, we have a disclosure of pecuniary interest.
Yes, Mr. Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I'll be declared, well, I'll participate in the work plan, but just to give notice that we own one of the properties identified north of for the Northern Trail at the coast.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we need to have any sort of, there's no sort of approval of that?
No, it's just John will recuse himself from any discussion of the subject.
Okay, minutes. Again, apologies for not being able to attend the last meeting, until February 24th, 2025. Does anybody have any comments, additions, omissions from the minutes for that meeting? No. Okay, can I have a motion to approve the minutes of February 24th? Maureen, seconded by Lance, all in favor? Wonderful. Okay, the number 6 reports, starting with 6.1 financial report, Chris Allison from the township.
First off, I apologize for missing last meeting as well.
Okay.
So financial report, we have contract services. So both are still at 100% as of the 18th. Contract services, we have $2,000. Materials and supplies, $4,800.
Okay, wonderful. Any comments? Discussion around that? Okay, we have approval, a motion to approve the report, or accept the report. John, seconded by Griffin, all in favor? Wonderful. Okay, Mark, you're gonna read off section 6.2, the Orca report from Meredith Carter from Orca, who is not available tonight.
Yep, so she has a couple of reports as well as some comments from some questions that were raised at the last meeting. So in terms of her brief update, she just wanted to note Orca's Spring Water Awareness Education Program is underway, and they will be delivering the program at Millbrook South Cabin Public School tomorrow. Also, seasonal staff have started and will be working throughout the watershed at conservation areas and other properties owned by Orca throughout the season. Finally, in response to the question posed at the last meeting regarding opportunities to create cycling access from the vicinity of the old school to the fourth line on land owned by Orca. They can confirm that the property owned by Orca does not extend to the fourth line, so would not provide a contiguous linkage. And she provided a little map just to demonstrate what the Orca lands are. And I can share the email with the committee after the fact, if you do not mind. If you have any questions, the committee can ask them now or contact Meredith directly. And if they do have any the questions now, I can just write them down and pass them on to her.
Okay, do we want to bring the email up from her showing the map now, or do you want to wait until we just discuss that in the work plan?
I'm not gonna put an email on the stream, sorry, and I didn't have time to prepare this beforehand, I just got the email about 20 minutes before the committee meeting, and just for business reasons, I'll never share an email on a stream. I can show the committee members the map. If they want.
Pass it around.
Yeah, it's a very small map, so just print it off. Potentially, I could request Meredith provide a larger version of the map, or I can see if I can blow it up for the committee after the meeting.
This is an item in the work plan, correct?
No, this is, well, this
We
is
haven't added it?
in relation to, I believe, David D'Agostino and, oh no, sorry, this is in relation to, excuse me, Chair Jackson, let me bring up the work plan. I believe it is the exploration of an alternative entrance to the fairground entrance. I believe it's in reference to this item.
It's in reference to
No.
finding access to the downtown closer than the fairground.
Yeah.
I think it's
Preferably
100%.
east
Oh.
of the village center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My apologies.
Yeah.
And was this brought up? This was brought up in the last meeting, right?
Mhm.
I know Dave D'Agostino has repeatedly mentioned that he's kind of received he's at a bottleneck in terms of options to find a working route.
Well, yeah, we discussed before, it was the floating bridge that was sort of
Mhm.
the bottleneck
Yes.
down there, right?
Yeah, and I just heard from Mr. Daggett, he won't unfortunately be able to join today.
So I guess, my question is, I just want to make sure I'm identifying the main road arteries for what they are. And it might be more apparent to other people than it is to me, yourself, John in particular. So if, I think that this is, I think. Okay, so I think that this is County Road.
County Road 10 would be on the right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
And
then if
then-
you follow it right to the bottom of the picture, that would be Zion Line at the bottom. So there's a lot of private property in between Orca and,
yeah,
so basically Orca is Meds Mountain. It goes in a little bit further and there is a chunk that's up on the top, which goes
Yeah.
over to County Road 10.
I'm trying to find the turning circle at the top of Gravel Road. That's what I'm trying to find here.
It's not really,
Yeah, I just don't think it's shown.
it's not really shown.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's kind of hard in that one.
But if that's Orca property, it'll be near there, won't it?
So if you see, do you see the big square with the little square in it? That would be the old school in there.
Right.
Yeah. And then there's a couple private properties up and then Orca property starts again.
So that's the old school.
Mhm.
So this is.
Anyway, it bears looking at. It would help to have it a little bigger mark, so that we can mark it up
Mhm.
as well. Because even if we can get the start of access close to downtown through Orca land, we might be able to get a commitment from one of the owners of one of the fields that is contiguous with Zion Line to get access along a fence line or something, even if we put in another fence or a hedgerow or something like that.
Well, just one thing to bear in mind, I think I've been misreading this when I first looked at this. I'm pretty sure it's County Road 10.
Mhm.
This is actually the unopened road allowance. It goes all through,
Diane? Mhm.
Gravel?
Stephen's property. Stephen's farm.
Right.
Sorry, just to be careful, don't identify anybody's property by name on the stream, sorry.
Yeah. Mhm.
I appreciate that, and it's just,
Yeah.
we have to protect our residents'
Thank you,
personal
yeah.
information, even if you know who owns the
It's
property.
good to be reminded.
But that is,
Mhm.
an unopened road allowance
Mhm.
that the township still owns, because I was talking to the person in question about this about a year ago and he fully knows.
And he knows it.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I mean, and I think that is something to bear in mind. I mean, I don't think it's really what Dave has envisioned. You know, he wants a sort of actual mountain bike trail, ideally, all the way connected, but that is an option to bear in mind. And that is coming down onto gravel road. You're looking puzzled at me.
No, sorry, I thought you said, when I said that's an extension of gravel road, I thought you were disagreeing with me, so that's why I was.
No,
asking. Yeah, so it is, yeah, okay. Sorry, people on this side of the street, yeah.
Okay.
I can definitely follow up with Meredith after the meeting to see if we can get a larger version of the map. I don't have a very large version in my email either. I was just double checking on my phone. It probably got compressed because it was not sent as an
I
attachment.
tried to blow it up and it just got
Yeah.
pixelated.
But anything like that is interesting, for continuity's sake. I mean, the nice part of a ride like that would actually be the, sort of the hill that cascades down from Zion at 10. That would be a nice ride. Hard in the other direction. Dan never heads in that direction.
So. Again, not being here for the discussion last month,
It's only brief for us. Yeah.
so there's no discussion around where the connection point would be.
No, it literally, I mean, I think we were going through the work plan and Dave just pulled up it as a question that's been on the work plan forever. I sort of just, has anything happened sort of thing. And,
Yeah,
and I think Meredith offered to
Mhm.
just check into
Yeah.
that from her perspective.
Yeah, I'd expressed interest in any land that wasn't contiguous now with any of our trails and might be elevated and away from the actual shore of the creek.
Mm.
And she said she'd look into it, and so that's what she found.
Okay, great. Okay, do we need to have an acceptance of the report even in her absence?
Yeah, but she did provide a written update. If we could just have a motion to receive her written update for information.
Seconded by Griffin, all in favor? Okay, moving on to the trail report, 6.3, Kurt, do you want to start?
Yeah, it's all the trails at various points, either depending on which week we're talking in the last month, either muddy and mushy sheet ice or walking on snowshoeing on top of a meter of snow on the crust. So quite a few lots of sort of minor branches down on that, but on my journeys I haven't found anything of note on the which one is it? Dale detour along there. Once you get over the bridge, is it the bridge at the Scanny Transit? I forget. Yeah. On that section that goes up behind up the hill there's quite a few smaller branches down. I could mostly just kick out the way, but nothing really of note all the way down to the Kirby Bridge. And just for, I think I asked if anyone had been down there at the last meeting, but just for reference, I don't think anyone had been down there for months. There's no tracks beyond the first open field down 5 Route 3 or down there. Beyond that, I was making fresh tracks the whole time, so it's kind of cool, but not a lot to really report.
Yeah, okay, I found that, and the branches that were down just wind.
Yeah,
Yeah, I found a lot of that too, but yeah, there's really nothing, everything's still sort of under, especially the main trails, from, the park. Because of the tree cover, of course, still quite a bit of snow. So I think, trail report next month will be, key because, yes, hopefully, because we will be hopefully a couple of weeks away from our work day, at that point, and we won't start making a list. So again, I would remind everybody who's out on the trails in the next month or so, in the next few weeks, to keep an eye out, and if there's anything that you think needs to be looked at or should be addressed, or it could be a potential workday project, then we could, write it down, text me, or bring it up certainly at the next meeting.
In the topic of the trail report, I was, because I live near Dial Detour, I was out there this weekend and walked past it and noticed that there was a pretty large tree that was down near the entrance. I'm not sure if you guys have been out to get that one.
Where's that?
Like almost right at the entrance. You can see it from Elgar Drive. It's pretty close to the entrance of Dial Detour. Not sure if it was still there. Someone on the road may have taken care of it, but
To DL or Meadow?
sorry,
DL or? Meadow?
DL, like down the fire road.
Down the
Right
fire road.
Yeah, right at the
Fire
start
road
of the
side.
fire. Yeah.
The locals usually do handle anything
Yeah.
that's that close to the.
Typically they do. I saw it this weekend and thought I'd just bring it up now. I can check on the way home though and see if it's still there and send me a message.
Yeah, if it is, just
Sure.
shoot an email, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
I know through you, Chair, I know that we discussed before about actually adding the list of who the trail report participants are. And to actually have it on the list, and I was thinking like it would be perfect if we had it on right after the adjournment, yeah. So we'll just a single one, maybe we just have it for like everyone for the rest of the year kind of thing instead of just.
Can we add that as an addendum to the minutes every month?
To you, Chair Jackson, or to Councillor Nash, through Chair Jackson. So I did add this element as
Yeah.
per the request of the committee. Potentially what I could do going forward is I could do an appended trail report scheduled to the trail report item, just so that it's included in the agenda. Would that be satisfactory for the committee?
Yeah, sure. I just was thinking like if someone needed to change for whatever reason, then we could just see it's like, oh, this person's here, can I swap with this person or whatever? It's kind of,
No problem.
since we have that whole page of space to use, that it would be. Okay.
I was out on the trail yesterday, walking from the fairground to the vicinity of the old floating bridge. And I was just curious about the height of the deck of the new boardwalk at that corner that Saskia and I have been concerned about because of the drop. So I actually measured it with a proper metal measuring tape, but not a square. And it's 33.5 inches from the deck down. It was a perfect day to do it because the ground was still frozen. It gets really mucky in there. By the time you're around there, you'll be in muck. So I thought I'd take advantage. So I don't know, is 33.5 inches okay?
So where is this and
So,
how
okay,
big
sorry,
area?
Chris, yeah,
how big?
sorry, so, yeah, as you're heading off the new bridge going west, you first come to an elevated corner that is 20 odd inches above the ground. And then you turn left at that corner and there's a corner that goes right, and it's that second corner that is quite high, and in certain lights, it's the kind of thing that you could easily run off the end of
So on the new boardwalk,
on the new boardwalk, yeah.
have to look into it. You might have to put railings on.
Yeah, this is
wherever
what
it's
I'm
overhang.
thinking.
Yeah.
I was also
So-
thinking railing would be helpful at the first corner as well.
Yeah.
And now that a lot of the snow has melted, we're almost down to bare earth along all of that portion of the boardwalk because it's more exposed to the sun. There is still a lot of old construction material and old boardwalk jutting out from under. And I did take some pictures, but I have a dead phone, so I'll send them to you folks afterwards so that you can have a look at it. And so there is still some work for the crew to do to cut those jutting out boards off.
So there is some that are always gonna be there because it's sort of walked around, right?
Mhm.
are they loose boards that are in there, or is it the actual boardwalk, the old boardwalk there?
It's
Cause
the
it's all
old-
gonna grow in, you're never even gonna see any of that once the weeds grow up, right? Like there is spots where the boardwalk had to turn on top of it where you can see
Mhm.
the old boardwalk underneath.
Yeah.
Is
some-
this
there's
what you're
still-
talking about,
Yeah,
or
and
is
there's
it-
some nails and things in that old boardwalk.
So you're worried.
Like you're always gonna see some of it right now, like until those weeds grow in, because the other boardwalk couldn't stay like exactly on it.
No,
everywhere,
I
right?
get that. I guess I anticipated that all of that would be removed. I don't mean the boardwalk.
No,
itself,
nothing was,
and-
nothing was to be removed because it was astronomical to get the boardwalk out of there, right?
Right,
So we were building on top of the other one.
right. But then.
Yeah, so that's just the old boardwalk underneath, you see a few spots, right?
Mhm. Okay, I guess I misunderstood. I thought anything that was showing out the sides would be taken away.
Stuff that got stuffed underneath, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that-
anything that was sticking out, like it was getting built on top of the old boardwalk, like
We
you're
get
gonna
that.
see the old boardwalk in some spots there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not gorgeous. I mean, the new.
Like once,
boardwalk
as soon
is
as the
go-
grass
it's
starts growing,
gorgeous.
you're not gonna see any of that this year, right? Like
Right.
it's just gonna grow right through it and you're not
Mhm.
even gonna know what's under there.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chairman, in terms of if there's nails sticking up and there's chunks sticking
Yeah,
up.
if it's a safety nail or
Is
something.
it something that could be part of the workday if we just took reciprocating saws and cut that off, or is that something we would be beyond our?
Yeah, like if it's just nails, you're just pulling nails, right? It's,
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's what gives, an added item for
Right,
work.
yeah.
yeah.
So I'll
Because
send
I-
pictures so that all of you
Yeah,
can
cause
kind
it's
of
just the old
anticipate how
boardwalk
much
that's in there
work it
now,
would
so if
be.
it's nails
Yeah.
sticking, they're just pulling out the original boardwalk, right?
Alrighty, I'll get my phone working and I'll get on that tomorrow.
Okay. Okay, any other discussion around trail report? Motion to receive the trail report. Don, seconded by Peskin. All in favor? Wonderful. Okay, moving on to 7, general business, 7.1 workday planning. So I would like to tonight, as just discussed, I think it's obviously too early to start putting a list together, although, we have what we just discussed. Typical things like mulch and possibility of putting railings up at those corners. So again, I would urge you to keep in mind sort of what projects could be, areas that need to be mentioned for workday, but, it's too early to come up with a proper full list, obviously, because of the conditions of the trails and the fact that we're under snow. But it would be nice to perhaps set a date tonight, because I think we'll be too close to set date at our next meeting at the end of April. So traditionally, we've held the workday the second week of May, or first week of May, and have used either or as a potential rain date. We've been very lucky. I don't think we've had to revert to a rain date since I've been a member of the committee, which has been over a decade, I believe. Anyway, the one issue this year with May is that the May 24th weekend is a little bit early. So the May 24th weekend is the 19th this year. And we've always tried to stay away from that because people are, away or cottages, etc. So that would put us at Saturday, May 3rd or Saturday, May 10th. And again, I think traditionally we've tried to stay away from the weekend before the May 24 weekend, because, possibility that people might start opening things early or be away, etc. But that then again leaves us only with the May 3rd, which might be a bit early, but I'm open to discussion, hence.
Right. When's Mother's Day?
Mother's Day is
The 11th.
The 11th. Oh, yes, but we would be, yes, well, thank you for that. That was another issue I forgot to bring up. I mean, we would obviously, traditionally have always held it on Saturday, but there is the potential that people might be traveling away for the weekend for Mother's Day or whatever. I mean, we're always concerned about the availability of core committee members, of course, but our availability to get people there to volunteer as well. We want to make it as easy for them with as little conflict as possible. So I'm open to discussion in terms of what people think. I was hoping to come to this meeting saying that, looks like spring is on the way, however, this morning. It's hard to say, but we've always, it's always been very good weather and things like that. So, thoughts? John?
Despite the weather, it's still March today, so
Yeah, no, of course.
I'd say go for the first weekend and then, if we have to, we go the second.
Does anyone around the table have any conflicts with that weekend?
I won't be able to make the first 2 weekends. I'll be out of the country.
Okay,
So if it was held later in the month, then I could, but not the first 2 weekends.
okay. So
Unfortunately.
you'll be out. All right.
I could go to Italy for you. Not a problem.
Now that would still be down a committee member.
I think generally speaking, we leave it any later than that, and then we're into sort of cottage season and better weather, et cetera. So,
I think you're good as well to err with the side of the third, and if in case it is bad weather, then we always have that extra following weekend.
so we go with the 10th as a rain day?
Yeah, then that
And the
works.
third,
At least, it's easier to plan it that way than,
Yeah, no, I was just hoping to give us another week,
yeah.
but, timing doesn't work out this year. Everything seems a bit early.
Mhm.
Any other thoughts?
Does that bring us too close to our next meeting? Because that only gives us a week and a half, basically between the two. From our next meeting for anything we need to organize or get there. I've been experienced in the past few years, so I don't know
Yeah,
if that takes time.
it's a good point. So our next meeting is the 28th, correct? Mark?
Yes,
So,
that's
yeah,
correct.
so that's less than a week. I think, we need to sort of have a discussion as in terms of, the new boardwalk policy, et cetera. But I think we're fairly good at this in terms of, previous experience and, sort of know what we need and that type of thing. So it's not it's a very good point. But, I think we'll have a good idea of what needs to be done and what we can do prior to the 28th, and things will be going on in the background, right? We've got wood. We can talk more about mulch after this in terms of what we need, any other supplies we think we might need that will be happening regardless of that sort of thing. But yeah, no, I think we'll be in pretty good standing. It still gives me, 4 or 5 days to put together things like, food for the barbecue and that sort of thing, and we should have a fairly good idea by then. Number of volunteers, but obviously we'll want to get the word out in the next couple of weeks with posters and things and our stuff on social media.
The time for that was, of the day for work day was when to when?
It's usually 8 to 12.
8 to 12, yeah.
Not till 1.
I
Never
don't
met about 8.
maybe that's what time, yeah.
Yeah, you have to get going.
But
Hard to get school students so free.
yeah, sorry, that's right. Yeah, I'm just looking for the poster.
Or 9 till noon, maybe not, but it's definitely 9.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
9 till noon? Was that?
Yeah, that's why. Yes, 9 till 12. That's right. Okay. All right. Anybody else have any concerns about that? We want to go with the 3rd and use the 10th as a rain day?
Yeah.
Okay,
Give me a poster for the store I could put.
yeah, well, Marina and I'll handle the posters and just sort of use the same one every year, change the dates. And we'll get those out in the next week or so. We can discuss distribution. I'll talk to Bridget about putting it on Kath and Madigan's site, and we've talked, in the past, I've talked to the people at, the Lions Den to put it on their sign. That doesn't seem to have worked the last few years. I'm not sure they're not willing to do that for us anymore, or maybe if somebody else asks. But I was thinking we could potentially, I don't know what the rules are for the new digital sign at the fire hall.
That was my thought, actually, and then as well in the hockey rink.
I don't want to comment generally, but I'll mention it to Bridget, and when you follow up with her with the specifics, she already knows this is coming up. We had a brief conversation about this, so hopefully she'll have an answer ready for you when you approach her with any comms materials that need to go up on the website for the workday.
But no, I'm talking about the digital sign.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to comment about the parameters of use. I'm not the comms officer.
We'll get it.
So, yeah, we'll have an answer for you.
Okay, can I have a motion then to set the workday date for Saturday, March, May 3rd? sorry.
Yep.
Saturday, May 3rd from 9 till 12 with the rain date of Saturday, May 10th.
Yeah. I'll make that motion.
Seconded by Maureen, all in favor? Wonderful. Well, we're still on the topic, I can arrange with you, Chris, hoping that there will be mulch at the Lion's Den around those dates.
Yeah, well, it's same as
You can
every
see
year,
the-
we'll see what we got, where we're at,
And
see what we do, yeah.
Is there anything now that, people can think of, we need anything like gravel or flagstone, any of those types of materials that we can think of now?
Just remember, there's still a ton of gravel at the top of the fairgrounds here.
Yeah, but if we need it somewhere else.
Oh, yeah, I know.
John?
I think there's still some areas, if we have, do we have any flagstone left over?
No, but we can purchase it.
Well, there always seems to be an expanding spot on DL as you're coming out of the lowland just after you cross the bridge. I'm not sure I would say probably getting those nails out is a higher priority, but
So, sorry, past the bridge going towards Gannon.
yeah, as soon as the first bridge,
After the Barbie.
Yeah, isn't there flagstone there already?
there is,
Yeah,
but the more you walk on it, the more the puddle
More feet.
expands kind of thing.
Oh, okay,
I would ask Dave whether he figures it's necessary. It's just the last time I was through there, I thought, well, a few more sections wouldn't hurt.
I think it's been filled in with some limestone screenings a little bit periodically over time, but you're right, it's still not ideal like that.
Yeah. Anyways, it's a
Okay, yeah,
thought.
let's keep that in mind, because that's not out of the question to get within a few days, like I can,
Oh, okay.
we could go to Landscape Supply and get some a few days before even. Refresh my memory, Chris, we still have limestone screenings at the yard, don't we?
Yeah, we did get some
Yes.
more, there should be some.
I think we got some last year, right?
Yeah.
And it's not been depleted.
We'll have to double check, but
Okay.
we haven't used any of it, so it's.
Okay.
You probably already have noted this, but just because it's come into my head, there's still the offcuts of wood right by fourth line where we're going to put it underneath the slightly bouncing bit of the boardwalk just south of fourth line there, heading up to the ponds.
Mm-hmm.
That's the wood's still there, so but that's another job that can be put down on the list.
Where's the wood?
It's where you left it.
I don't remember it.
Put him in charge then.
By the sort of tree or bushes that are just on the left as you're.
Oh, okay, the offcuts.
Yeah, because remember you
Yeah,
left it
yeah.
in a shopping container thing, and I brought that back but left all the. wood
Oh,
there.
okay. Right, yeah, okay, yeah, we'll have to see how that is, what's everything. Excuse me, thaws, yeah,
Yeah,
But
'cause
we'll
I mean,
need
it's
to-
pretty waterlogged right now.
Okay.
It'd be a bit of a mucky job, but
but that works quite well though, once we
Yeah.
get it propped up, it's.
yeah. And
pretty-
there's only a couple of places, it wouldn't take much.
Yeah, it's a two-person job, rubber boots for sure. Okay, anything else on that? Okay.
One area I'm thinking of, there on Baxter Creek Trail, as you're going toward Zion Line, in the area where that big old dam was that we dismantled, there is a furrowed bit of trail that has a lot of water running through it. It's not a full-fledged beaver canal or anything like that, but I think that area of the trail will have to be built up a little bit. It's where there were, close to where there were 3 little pieces of flagstone. someone who's really good at drainage questions,
Oh,
like
okay,
Dave,
okay,
it'd be really
yeah,
helpful to have them figure out.
Yeah, I was looking at that a couple of weeks ago and I think you could do a drainage dish off to the side.
Right.
And I think it would be doable.
Mhm.
With Big O or just?
I don't think you'd even need that, but
Mhm.
Just
you
dig
could
a-
use
dig a
that.
trench.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I think
Is
there's
it-
still a few 100 feet or so of Big O in the
Yeah.
shed if we need.
Yeah, because it's just kind of pooling there, but it's sort of, there's quite a steep bank by the
Mhm.
side of it going down to the actual creek, so I think just digging that out, yeah.
Okay. Okay, Don?
But, have we got lumber? Like, it seems to me there was also on the creek or Baxter Creek approaching Fourth Line, there were some spots where it was pretty muddy, and I know it kind of depends what time of year it is.
Yeah, we dealt with that last year.
Okay, so you did some new boardwalk went in there.
Some mulch and things, yeah, but we'll have to keep an eye on that
Yeah.
once things thaw again to see where we're at, right?
Because
Um,
depending on how busy we are, you know, if we had the wooden,
exactly, yeah, and I would like to do, depending on the list we have of must-do things and depending on the amount of volunteers, I'd like to see some work done on the trail that goes off to the actual Fourth Line Theater.
Mhm.
That needs some serious work.
it does. Yeah.
I'm not sure how much traffic it
Yeah,
gets.
it doesn't get much, certainly not over the winter.
So,
Yeah.
no, of course, but you're
Mhm.
thinking maybe not worth it?
No, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying, you know, we've worked on it before and it didn't get much usage then either, sort of thing, I think it's
Yeah.
worthwhile doing.
What if we've got a half dozen extra people looking for something to do? and
Yeah,
we
for
could
sure, yeah.
Shoot 3 hours at it, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it doesn't get run over by snowmobiles as much as it used to, so anything that we do is more likely to last.
Yeah.
And I think the folks who are both working and volunteering at the Fourth Line Theater would appreciate it being open, because they do tend to walk into town, you know, for lunch and stuff.
yeah,
So through you, Mr. Chairman, to Chris, and again, I'm not trying to belabor a point, but if we're repairing stuff that's already on that part, that's okay, or is that a questionable thing?
So it should have a draft copy come next meeting.
Oh, okay, so then we'll know what we can do and what we
Yeah.
can't. Okay, thank you.
We'll have it outlined.
Just one other thing I just thought of as well, I'm 99% sure that there's that one section that got basically destroyed by the contractors. That's kind of that S-shaped boardwalk that got completely destroyed, that would.
Just in from the
That I
Fourth
think is a
Line.
priority. No, it's kind of, I don't know, it's. So you floating bridge, end of the new boardwalk, basically, you remember where the Beaver Lodge used to be?
Yeah, yeah.
Right there.
Right.
Oh,
It's
okay.
It's it. kind
But
of
that's
a-
duck board, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
and it's not elevated or anything, it's just, and there's basically just at the fall, someone had just basically put some loose planks down there.
Yeah.
But that was all boardwalked,
Mhm.
it needs redoing.
Okay, and then hopefully we'll have some mulch, maybe at different areas, always at Stillery Street, but also at Fourth Line. We will have, pamphlet holders and dog boxes
Oh,
to
yeah.
put up too.
Good stuff. Mhm.
But I'm expecting that the township will put up the new signs when you're ready. That wouldn't be a workday job.
Yeah, we can do it.
Well, we could do it too, but I wasn't sure whether, what would be allowed. You guys have
So,
traditionally done it.
yeah, because we'll frame it all up.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So maybe that could be
So we'll frame them ahead of time.
on time, yeah, depending on timing, that could
We'll
even
have to-
be before.
Drill the holes and stuff, because
So does that include the one at the old school?
Yeah, I mean, that's all, it's all dependent on, we'll talk about it during the work, but it's all dependent on when they're gonna be ready. Okay, anything else? Discussion? Okay, moving on to 7.2, the work plan then, please. One's ongoing. Number two, was there any feedback from the township on this at last meeting, right?
We're kind of looking at it. but
We had asked for materials, right?
Materials.
Or was
Oh,
that-
yes, there was, that it was going to be very similar to what is already, that
Right.
is, that which is on the,
Mhm.
the path that goes up from Station Trail to the
Right.
Highland,
Oh,
development.
like the
Yeah,
landscape,
yeah,
limestone, like natural,
That's what I'm asking.
natural.
So it's not asphalt. Okay, good. Number three, Kirk,
And what the- and I think we did discuss that back and it's still,
with staff.
well, with GRCA, it's like,
Yeah, that's me, GIS. So, yeah, actually got a hold of somebody.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we did have a discussion, so, Gainer uses ARC Enterprises.
Arc Info.
Arc Enterprises, trail mapping. So they did say they could help us out, with, designing it, but they did say that, the county of, Peterborough also does this, which we have, our IT through. So I'm contacting Peterborough County. Gainer said they could help if the county needs the help, so I'm gonna meet with the county, see what we can do to, implement Park Enterprises, where we have to go. Gainer is willing to help out, so now we gotta go to the county and I'll have to come back.
Okay, do you need any of us to be involved in those discussions when you have them?
Let me set it up first and see where we are, and then,
That'd be
yeah,
great.
it's kind of like before, like we were gonna have Gainer to sort of show it and everything first, right? So I think we'll just go the same route once we have a model and we'll do a presentation.
Okay,
To you, Chair Jackson, I believe John Faust might have actually, the leaving is not coincidental. He was recusing himself for the meeting for the discussion of the second element of item 2. Do you mind if I just give you the committee, what staff have explored in terms of committees inquiry about the Northwest Trail expansion?
for number two.
Yes.
Okay.
And then somebody can fetch John Faust afterwards. Vice Chair McDonald, I believe, kind of mentioned the potentially expanding the trails in the direction of the city of Fort Lakes in a northwesterly direction on the old rail line. I've basically drawn up a map using the GIS briefly to get the committee's an understanding of what was being proposed last week. So a couple elements. First of all, you can see the zoning over here. Part of it does actually go through the new subdivision that is going on. But the big blocking point is we were asking about the ownership of the land and if it was a railroad or who owned it. It is entirely private property now. And this is kind of going to be the big blocking point in terms of feasibility. The cost would be significant because some landowners might require financial compensation or there would have to be a series of agreements to use the land. So to be frank, it is low from a feasibility standpoint right now. I think some of the other options that the committee has then, if the committee does want to kind of push this and explore this earlier, this will require going to council with a specific ask, but I think would have to be a lot more developed than it is currently. But our advice is it'd be a very difficult and costly trail expansion compared to some of the other previous options.
Okay. Any thoughts?
Just out of curiosity, is the section going from 21 up to Forest Line, just that first section, is that all owned by the same property owner?
I can't comment on that specifically. We didn't get into individual breakdowns of all the properties. I just had a conversation with our planner that did confirm that she is aware of the nature of the ownership of the land. It is no longer owned by the railroad. It is all private landowners. I can't specify. I can say on this map they are different properties, but I cannot tell you who the owners are and if they are the same person, though that would probably be improbable.
We could find that out through the planner.
Yeah, I can follow up with staff on that.
Just because at least my understanding of it was that certainly what are we, southern half is all owned by a single developer, but I don't know.
That's my understanding as well.
And so the reason that would be useful information, at least for that bit, is that you've described that as being very complex, which I totally get, but if it is a single owner and that owner happens to be a developer, then that is not, it's still not ideal. Be easier for the railway company, but that does decrease the complexity quite significantly, in my opinion.
You also have a nice starting point to at least connect to that new neighborhood being
Yeah,
built. right?
exactly. It's better than nothing.
Yeah, if we can get that far, would be awesome.
Trying to make this a trail that other development will be able to.
Okay. So it's actually not going past here.
No.
Okay.
But who knows? No.
Okay.
The other, I mean, in terms of there being walkability to the new elementary school on Fallis Line when it's built, it would be lovely to have that path as a thoroughfare away from the street.
Okay, any other discussion on that? Okay, we got John, come on in. Yes?
Yep, it's good if we're done discussing this then. Thank
Mm-hmm.
you very much for recusing yourself. And I'll follow up with the staff on your inquiries.
Okay, so actually, John, looks like you're up for number 4.
You just want to fill in on number 3, because he was gone.
Sorry, yes.
So, sorry.
We'll give, yeah, absolutely. Chris, just give a quick update for John on.
Oh, number 3, yeah, so, I was speaking with, Gator Aska on the trail app. The app is an ARC Enterprises app. So it is something that we could get through our current IT company, so I'm now approaching them, speak to them. Gator Aska is willing to help implement it between the two, so we're sort of there right now.
As for number 4, I don't have anything more to report. I believe Lance is working on getting a response from Ganaraska, so we'll look forward to hearing from that.
Okay, great. Number 5 on hold. Number 6, updated sign and brochures. I was hoping to hear back by today on timing. Things from the manufacturer. Hopefully I'll have an update on that later this week, or I can share with the committee, but my expectation and hope is that we will have those up very, very early in the season. Once the ground thaws, hopefully we'll be ready to go to be able to have the township staff put those up. And fill our new brochure boxes with updated brochures and have new signs. I will just mention, Chris, on that. We talked in January, I believe, about moving the trash can from the end of Distillery Street back beside the sign in the park. So whatever timing and weather, I mean, it's still kind of surrounded by snow. So that would be great. It would kind of make access a bit easier during the winter too. Snow gets pushed up against that.
Yeah,
People can't access the garbage, and so just better, and probably be better for parking too.
To you, Chair Jackson, just one thing I wanted to mention, following up from last meeting, there was a question about if any of the brochures needed a Photoshop. I talked to our communications officer, and we'd be happy to make any changes if necessary, final changes if necessary, doing Photoshop. For the brochure.
That's already been done.
Oh, okay. So now, move on.
Yeah, no, that's good. We went to number 7. I think we already discussed. Yeah, so we previously discussed that, so we can get we can report back to Dave about the information Mary sent, and we can have further discussion on that next month.
Mhm.
Design of pamphlet and bag dispensers is done. Right, can we not? What did it say? Committee approves the process, yeah. I'm just going to work on that, but, so they're almost done. It's been a little cold in my workshop because I've got heat, but, we're getting there. They were ready for the spring, I still hold by that. Dave has said the, yeah, so that's all good. We can probably close that number 8.
No problem.
Marine on number 9,
Mhm.
we're just the same, right?
Yeah,
We're
we're just
gonna
the
hold
same.
it, but-
Yeah, I have to say, I haven't heard back from our usual contractor, having sent out an email to find out how interested he is and whether or not there will be any change in his fee and that kind of thing. I also wanted to ask him about whether he would be interested in the work of following us while we are cutting down buckthorn, if we do that this coming fall. With glyphosate or the other topical treatment that's
Right.
just daubed on,
Okay,
that I can't remember. So I haven't got anything to report on that at the moment, but we're a bit ahead of ourselves anyway in terms of
yeah, it's still early.
maybe get something nice.
Okay, number 10. So, Chris, my concern with this is that if we don't have a draft until the next meeting, that said, that only leaves us 3 or 4 days prior to the workday, sort of figure out what needs to be constructed and getting the proper materials and people and et cetera in place. Is that the earliest?
So what would you be looking, are you looking at building boardwalks on the day of, or?
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
Cause we're gonna need location, cause you're gonna need permits on it anyway, so I'm gonna need locations where you could want this, like, we're gonna have to start getting all permits now.
We're gonna need permits for boardwalk,
Yeah.
according to Orca?
Yeah.
Why is
The
that?
permits for all
policy changed?
boardwalk we put it,
Why is that changed?
well, I'm running this all by Orca,
So permits are at Orca's direction?
I need permits for the boardwalks from Orca, yes.
Okay, but I don't understand.
It depends on where the boardwalk is, how much of the boardwalk, we have to run it by Orca, if we need a permit, we'll fill in a permit. If we don't need a permit, that'll be up to them.
Is that just for new boardwalk or
Hmm?
for new boardwalk or
Well,
like?
that's what you're planning, is building new boardwalk, right?
Yeah, but I'm trying to clarify if it is only if we're building new boardwalk or if we need to do that.
That's what I have to clarify with Orca, so that's why we need to know, is it
No, I think the- I
boardwalk,
think the
how big,
question-
where?
I think the question, Chris, is do we need a permit to repair existing boardwalk?
Most of the time, they'll say it goes under maintenance, it depends. It's just a discussion with Orca, they'll say, okay, it's maintenance, go ahead and do it. Or you need permit.
John?
Well, I guess, so specifically, like, I don't know, I don't know how we describe the location for the other ones, but like the fourth line theater section that would basically be repairs. It is repairs, there's nothing new there that I know.
So if it's there and repairs, they'll usually just say it's general maintenance, but still
But
run by.
you still have to have a map of that, or just a general description of, if we send in a list of existing ones that need repairs.
It's nice to have a map with it on it, so you can actually show them, right, cause they wanna see where it is.
Okay.
What you're doing, okay, it's the same as when we put in a bridge, we need a permit, we put in the boardwalks, we need a permit.
And we don't have any aerial photographs that would actually be specific to the.
So just on the map, like if you use the Millbrook Valley Trails map, and you put lines here, boardwalk from here to here, we're doing maintenance on it.
Okay, so.
Yeah.
Some of that's doable, I think, wouldn't it be? Like.
Well, I think so, but I still like, so the one I was saying earlier where there's that sort of bit of boardwalk that's basically been completely trashed and all that's left there is basically, you know, planks in the mud. Is that, I mean, you could argue that that's just
That's a repair.
repairing existing boardwalk, even though the boardwalk isn't really existing anymore.
Yeah.
So is that new or is that repair?
That's up to Orca, that's what you're saying. So appreciating, Chris, that you're not an Orca staff member and that we don't have an Orca staff member on at the meeting today. I guess from the committee's perspective, we'd like to understand if you're able to answer why all of a sudden is it Orca requesting this? And why? Because it's not been the practice in the past.
For new boardwalk?
Even for.
I can't comment on what's been done in the past. This is just from discussions I have. If we're doing something, it's more of a blessing, like, okay, Orca, we're gonna be doing this. What do you require? Do you require a permit or is it maintenance?
But they.
It's the
Orca's
same
given-
moving forward with every group anymore. Like there's the liabilities there and they wanna know what's going on. If they require a permit, they're gonna ask for a permit.
So is it the liability from the township perspective or the Orca perspective?
Both. It's Orca land.
Right, but 2 years ago, we could build boardwalk without having to do any of this.
Last year we couldn't.
Or repair boardwalk. So this is.
I have asked before, we needed repairs and they said it's general maintenance over by the fairgrounds.
Okay, so.
It's just a matter of running by what it is you're looking to do, we'll just run it by them. If they're fine with it, they'll say, go ahead. If not, if they need a permit, they'll let us know, we need a permit.
Okay, so I'm gonna be a bit of devil's advocate here. Situation where there's an existing boardwalk on Baxter Creek Trail and. The boards are rotted, or we had some. People that broke 3 boards and it poses a danger in the sense that, there's now a 3-foot gap in the
We go ahead and
boardwalk.
replace the boards, that's just basic maintenance.
So we don't have to ask Orca for that.
No, if you're building a new boardwalk, we're gonna run by the permits. If it's something bigger, we're gonna ask and find out.
Okay, so again.
So the fairgrounds, you were changing the stairs last year, rebuilding the stairs, yes, so that is one, we ran by them, they said, yes, general maintenance, go ahead.
Okay,
So if it's
And
boards,
for the-
health and safety, you gotta change those boards tomorrow, so nobody's following through.
right, so
You're
the
building a
issue,
boardwalk, we're gonna run the boardwalk by them, they're gonna say if we need a permit or not.
so
It's
the
pretty-
issue we spoke about before, going and removing nails from. The new floating board, underneath the new boardwalk plastic floating bridge, permit required?
No, come on, we're getting out of hand here, this is
No,
basic safety
we're
stuff,
trying to
guys.
figure out what we're allowed to do. Because again, you gotta understand from our perspective, we've just been able to do this.
No, but
before.
removing nails, this is getting out of hand. We can remove nails.
I'm not trying to
We
make
can
it out of
change
hand, I'm just
broken
trying to
boards.
get it.
If you're gonna build a boardwalk, we're gonna run it by them and we're gonna get the permit if we need it.
But you also, Chris, you also just said that it's a permit may also be required for maintenance.
It may be, depends on what the maintenance.
So I'm trying to determine what that line of maintenance is.
Okay, well, it's not pulling nails.
Okay, so.
Okay, if you're rebuilding
the-
stairs, we
the
ran by the rebuilding stairs, okay?
Okay, but the policy will delineate what that line is between maintenance and not.
Hopefully, yes.
Okay. Questions?
Just a comment, I would think within a couple weeks, once the thaw is completely happened on Baxter Creek Trail, I think it'll become apparent that not only do we need to essentially replace that S-shaped boardwalk, but we're gonna need more boardwalk where there have been deep gouges. Or some direction from Orca as to how much new material we can bring in to fill the gouges and what it should be. Sorry.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, could you drop a map forward to Chris of where those locations are, then he can find out whether we need a permit or not? That could be done before, is that fair?
So this is exactly, like, if you wanna put 3 sections of boardwalk there, put it on a map, we'll take it to Orca, do we need a permit? We'll
Yeah.
fill out the permit.
So, but the same, Chris, the same would apply for wanting to put gravel or mulch down.
Yeah.
So, okay, so, we always put mulch basically from the Distillery Street entrance on Baxter Creek
Yeah.
to the first bridge. Permit required? Or we need to run that by Orca first? Or would that be considered general maintenance because
General
it's a
maintenance,
yearly?
we already have it in there, it's general maintenance.
Again, no, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm trying to,
So,
I don't wanna
We
go out
don't-
there and do something
Okay, so-
next month and get
so
in
we
trouble.
did deal with, we talked about this before, M&R wanted to take gravel in there, they didn't want gravel in there, right? They want you to run by everything now. The M&R property. So it's
Okay,
gotta be clean fill, it's gotta be site plan and filled out with the M and R,
so even for something like mulch, we need to run it by them.
with the M and R, yes.
But not Orca.
Orca, I'm not 100%, I haven't talked to them on that.
John? Try to get your hand up or
I probably did, but I don't think it was about mulch.
Lance?
Through you, Chair. So, Chris, is there the potential that you may have this policy in place before our meeting next month?
No, you're gonna review it.
Oh, so you won't see it prior to then? Like, well, my question being, if it would be ready in 2 weeks from now, could you allow us to view that as early as we possibly can prior to the next
I don't think
meeting?
it'd be ready. in
Okay,
2 weeks from
thank
now,
you.
But the next meeting, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yes,
John?
I remember how I had my hand up.
but we did, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Sorry, we did discuss that there's gonna be boardwalks built into that, right? So if you know where you want a boardwalk, let's just be proactive and know where we want it, and we'll follow up with permits.
And that was my point. So I would make a motion that we ask Marine to draw up a map with her best estimate of where the locations are, provide it to Chris so that we will have an answer, like Orca will know whether we need permits. We can add the question about the mulch as well. And if you can, between the two of you, if you could send that to Chris as to where we want the mulch, where we're thinking we're repairing. And then they can tell
Well,
us.
but we don't know about mulch yet, as per Chris's comment.
No, but you could ask if we need a permit for mulch before.
Okay, yeah, and on that point, Chris, has Orca provided any guidelines on, when do they have, guaranteed response times? Like, is it gonna take 2 weeks to get a permit or response, or? Like, how?
They're usually fast,
Okay, but
yeah, but.
how,
there's
I
no
guess my question is,
guarantee- no
how much
guarantee.
further do we have to put it in? If we wanna do this in 2 weeks, should we have applied 4 weeks ago? Or, you know what I mean, like, I'm assuming we're not gonna be able to get something the next day.
Well, if you know, I'll just discuss with them and I'll get the permit going, it's gonna be done in time for May.
Yeah, but that's not always gonna be the case, right? Like, if there's a new spring that pops up on one of the trails and it becomes a giant sort of wet area.
And that's a separate issue.
Yeah, so,
right.
but with that, do you know yet whether that would be like, we come to you and say, Chris, we need 20 feet of boardwalk in this area? Is that gonna be
Then
a 2 week process or a 2 month process? You don't.
We go to Orca and we ask for permission, we do the permit, we follow the procedure,
But is Orca generally quite responsive and stuff like that?
very quick, yeah.
Okay, so it's not gonna be like going to get a building permit for a new.
No, they're fast, they're fast.
Okay.
They work really well with us and quick to.
Now, and that has to be done through you. That can't be done through any member of the committee.
No.
Okay.
Okay, so as,
Questions? Any other discussion?
so as soon as we see the thaw come out of that section, we'll get pictures as quickly as possible and then get a map, perspective map of what we think we'll need. I wouldn't mind your advice on that because you're the boardwalk designer or weird around the old beaver lodges. So that would be,
Yeah, and certainly as soon as another few days, I think it'd be clear enough to take pictures in most of the areas,
Through you, Chair, would it maybe behoove us to just make the assumption that we're going to see that damage and submit with the intentions of applying to Orca for this work? And
Yeah, I
if we
think-
don't need it, then that's fine. We've already gone ahead and made this assumption. The application for the permit approval is through, and then it's like, hey, good news, we don't need this.
But
Why don't we try to just do that? And just
we don't know the
I think
language.
that's what we're talking about already.
No, but when you were saying with the thaw, it was like, well, we don't know if that's the case or it's not the case. Let's
well, it was
just.
before it froze and I don't imagine it repaired himself.
It's-
No, but I'm saying like, then let's just,
If you can do
Just
the
make
map
that-
and get it to Chris, then he can get the approval before next.
I think it would be wise just to wait a few more days and wait for it a bit more melting,
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
can just
Yeah.
actually get pictures
Mhm.
and be able to measure it out.
Measure it. Don't have the light.
Okay.
But,
Yeah.
and then get on it
okay,
ASAP.
great, okay. Cool.
So do we need a motion of that effect to give you the authority to between them?
Don't think we do.
Okay.
No, we
so-
don't.
But I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we've always been advised not to be emailing each other between meetings. So do we need a motion for me to get this out to everybody between meetings and
So.
get moving on it? Because
From a procedural perspective, basically, the rule is that you cannot advance any business that would be in a serious manner outside of the committee, but it has to involve a quorum of committee members, and ideally, we would like stuff to be done transparently. So if you're talking about, for instance, committee members have different ideas about the expansions of the trails, that thing shouldn't happen by email, it should happen during the committee session. For some follow-up for an item on the work plan, that's perfectly consistent with open meeting rules to do it outside of the meeting by email. So you're fine. If you want to, a couple of committee members want come together, draw up a map, send it to Chris to get to Orca, that's 100% above board.
Okay, and Chris, on this vein, where are we on the process of replacing the bridge by the old library?
Bridge has been ordered, and I was talking to Orca today, actually, I'm just filling the permit out this week.
Okay, and then you'll be in the process of getting quotes?
It's already been ordered. Yeah, we're good.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
So I'm just waiting on a timeline to get it actually,
for the contractor,
Yeah.
or for the permit,
for both.
for both, okay, and do you
The
have,
permit I'm filling out this week, I was talking to Orca today about it.
okay.
Yeah.
Do they have a general timeline, like it's gonna be done in May, June, later in the summer,
I asked for spring, I'm just waiting for
or
the.
spring? Okay, and do we have a price?
Yeah, it was same as that budget.
It was $15,000 total, but I think
It's I think I don't have that right now, but
And are we allowed to announce the contractor?
see if I can get the price here right now.
until it's been awarded, I would say no for the
I think Chris said it
contractors.
has been awarded.
Oh, okay. You're saying.
Have to do some thinking here, this is wrong. RJ machine, same bridge, same design, same,
Steel beam.
exact same as the
etc.
other bridge, it's I believe it's just 2 feet shorter, I think. I believe.
Okay, and are they going to put it on concrete piers?
Yeah, it'd be the same as last time,
Same as last time.
exact same.
Okay, and you can advise us of that prior to, so we can.
Yeah, once I know, because we'll have to shut that portion down for.
Yeah, we'll have to.
For the week.
right.
That's what they're thinking about, a weekend.
Yeah, I think last time it was 3-4 days.
Okay. Can you, last time they came in and they sort of took a trail through the woods to be able to get material through there with their gator or whatever it was. I'm hoping that this time they can just sort of drive down.
So we're coming in through the old school.
If you're coming in through the old school. Can you let us know if there needs to be any trimming of those, like right behind my property?
Yeah.
It narrows a bit because of those, but they're only sumacs, so
Yeah.
we could certainly do controlled trimming if they needed to, any wider space, but I'm hoping not.
Yeah, it should be, yeah, we should be all right. We'll
Okay.
figure it out, yeah. So they'll be, I'd imagine they'll be out before they install it anyways, just have a look and.
So you don't know yet, but it's a possibility that that could be done before workday.
It is a possibility, yeah.
Okay, so we may need, depending on the amount of traffic and stuff and damage, we may need mulch delivery there to.
Yeah.
Help remediate that.
Yeah.
Because that gets pretty muddy anyway.
Yeah.
But there'd be no reason or no, they would have no impact on the existing boardwalk on the other side of the bridge.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other? Okay, 11, direction, the specifics of the policy, are we waiting?
So I think you missed this, last meeting, Chair Jackson, is, basically, there's gonna be a general commemorating policy, for the township, and there's going to be a report, in council giving staff direction, on the policy, and it's just pending that report, going to council right now.
And do we know when that's gonna happen?
I don't want to put a timeline to it. It's not under, my work plan. I can follow up on it after the meeting.
Okay, but it's being worked on?
Yes.
Okay, so sometime this year,
Yeah,
presumably?
yes, the intent is not to make this language.
Okay. Number 12, update on GRC Trail reconnection. Oh, yeah. Have we had any update on this?
This is one I wanted you to follow up with me. Reconnection, where, like, we didn't have a connection, but I can't ask it. What is the reconnection?
Well,
No.
I did have a connection. They're denying it, then I think they're mistaken, but Dave would be better to speak to it. Lance has kind of summarized what Dave and I told him about it.
That was the purpose of the creation of the Ganny Trail.
But I think that particular, so yeah, number 12, I think we probably had that report from staff because we talked about this last time, which led to
The reason why I saw to you, Chair Jackson, or to John through Chair Jackson, it's that, the committee asked specifically for an update on this, and, we did follow, staff did have a discussion about this, and we're a little bit
A
uncertain.
little bit, so yeah, reconnection, so the fire route over to Glenmore.
Yep.
So are you talking there was a connection off of that?
yeah, where we ended trail.
Yeah,
Originally, we had a connection to Ganaraska right there, and the bikes were going back and forth.
okay, so that, yeah,
It ended, they shut that down after the
After the
derecho,
derecho,
as
yeah.
I recall.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're trying to reconnect. Their position, my understanding of their position was people we were talking to didn't believe there was a connection. Personally, I'm a witness for what that's worth, that there was.
But we have signs on the trail saying you're about to enter the Ganaraska Forest, please purchase a
And that was,
valid pass.
and that was based on their,
What both Dave and John have shared with me. This will give you more clarity as to what it is. And then if you want, you and I can make a day, we'll go down together and talk with GRCA. Because I've tried to arrange that once and they had to postpone,
Yeah.
or we can arrange for them to come up here.
I'd suggest if that's.
so I know when we met out there with Ganaraska, there was concerns that. So their trails were close to the fire route and people were making their own trails into the Ganaraska. So they never talked about an actual connection. They didn't want people just going into Ganaraska, making their own trail into the Ganaraska trails where it's permitted. So people are just walking Millbrook Valley trails normally, then they're heading into Ganaraska without permits. So they wanted everybody going down to the permitting station.
Yeah.
so part of the agreement when we set up the connection was that we had to sign it to that effect as described.
Which we have.
And we have, so I think that tends to support the contention that the connection did exist. I think there were some retirements prior to the derecho.
Yeah.
And the linkage,
Changing hands and sort of.
the linkage perhaps lost.
It was closed for quite a while because of the
Oh,
trail.
yeah.
Yeah, so it was closed. That was one of the ones they left till the end that was covered with trees and they have, I don't know if they've opened myself yet, but.
I don't think they've
Trail
opened
or-
anything along there.
But to say there was never a connection.
What you guys saw
is false.
somewhere on file here.
So that's why I'm asking, because
Did you have?
Dave or I were not
Oh,
able
you
to find
had your- you were
something.
talking
I know
before.
it was,
Oh.
it was Jerry Barker was
It comes
working it with
About the
it.
map.
It's dead.
You said,
Yeah.
you were gonna say you suggested.
Oh, all I was gonna
We're up
say
there.
is I suggest, that if they are denying there is an actual existing connection that goes to that, I would suggest maybe taking some photos of.
I'm not saying they're denying it. I'm saying they were saying that they're accessing it through here. They didn't say there was a connection, they didn't say there wasn't a connection. They were concerned with people making their own connections off the fire route into the trail system.
Like bushwhacking.
It's already there.
It's, the trail's already
And it's
there.
very
So-
still very
Because we
passable.
had
Well,
to-
that
we
the
had
trail might have been there,
no, but we had to get it
People are
surveyed.
taking that.
We had to get the whole length surveyed.
Canarasca.
That went
It's
up.
Canarasca side where people are going in.
No, but on our side, we have to get it surveyed.
Yeah.
In order to do that.
Yeah.
John,
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I think they have now closed their bike trail that we were linking to. But that doesn't mean the trail didn't exist and the connection didn't exist.
Mhm.
So at least that's my recollection. Dave, when I sent my email to Lance and Dave sent his, he had actually talked to more people down there than I was talking to. So he remembered the names of people he's been dealing with.
Mhm.
And Lance has those names, so.
Just I shared everything with you so we can talk.
So anyway.
No, it's good to review, yeah,
No,
because I
no,
haven't seen
it's
anything
all
on it,
good.
so. yeah.
It may be that not all those trails can be rehabilitated because of the derecho damage, but having walked quite a number of them, my feeling would be that some of them, at least one, and
Yeah.
probably more. Mhm.
My perception, through you, Mr. Chairman, my perception was they didn't really have a problem with Millbrook Valley Trails and the bike people that were using it, but there were a lot of other people who were accessing some of the trails from Glamorgan, and I thought there was gonna be a fence put up along there entirely.
Yeah.
And then after that, we might get a gate to reconnect, but if they've shut that trail down, I wasn't aware they'd shut that trail down till I read the email that Dave had
Included.
submitted, so.
Yeah.
So I learned a bit too.
so sorry, explain to me what the status is. You're gonna go down and meet with them?
I've already connected with them. We were supposed to meet one day and they had to reschedule.
Okay.
Someone wasn't.
So there's a
feeling well.
meeting pending to
There's a
discuss
meeting
this
pending
issue.
to discuss what the information provided by both Dave and John, and then I also want actually like a written response to the questions that were added. So if it's a matter of where I think I'll talk more with Chris now that he's back to work. And we'll try to figure out if it's best to have Linda coming up here and maybe one of their field operators and do a walkthrough. Yeah, not you and now. You, but maybe the three of us can figure out, or, you know, if John, if you want to join, or if Kirk, you want to join, from there, and then kind of just have a, you know, this is specifically where we're talking, or we should do a video, and like, this is exactly what we were proposing to do, and getting this reestablished.
So that's the question from the township perspective, is what do we need to do to get this
Get this
reestablished?
reestablished.
But Chris, do you feel that they're saying it's not happening?
No,
Okay,
I just, when we were out there, it was more of these trails weren't here. People are making these trails onto our trails. They don't have permits.
okay,
They're accessing our trails without permits.
okay. So there's all. Yeah, okay.
So maybe Maureen, if you're willing.
So I think they're
then
concerned with their
when
trails.
I can arrange that, I
Circles
can loop
close to
you
that,
in,
so you can see.
I
we
would
could
like
do,
that,
we could
yeah.
do a specific walkthrough.
Yeah,
Maybe grab some of the things that we can tie off on some trees, and so that they're aware that when after the fact, they can send some of their field techs up and go, look, if we're proposing here, and if it not be here, then this is our option B that we would prefer, and our option C. And then
I
it's
think-
not a like, we're going to say, we're going to take no, it's going to be, okay, we were working with, this is our ideal option and original. This is our second option, this is our third option.
I think we need to involve the mountain bikers who know those
Yep.
trails best,
Okay.
what would work best.
That's good, Jim.
Let's wait for a day then when things are a little bit drier. I'll reach out and we'll actually propose doing a physical walkthrough.
To you, Chair Jackson, this trail connection to GRCA own system, was it discussed at the committee level when it was being developed?
Yeah,
Would have done, yeah.
Discussed, approved,
Uh,
the free records going back. I mean, we had to get it
Yeah.
surveyed. There was costs involved. It's all
And
done on the up.
I'm gonna talk to Dave as well, because I'm kind of 85% sure that we had to get the survey done on GRC land with their permission up to the connecting trail, because we needed it to stay on the old
Road allowance.
road allowance, yeah.
Yeah, they were
And so
very,
we even had to survey it, and the survey stakes would still be
Do you
there.
remember what year that was? Because then we would have a copy of a survey on file
Yeah.
somewhere here.
I would, I would guess 15?
2015. Okay.
10 years seems about right.
yeah, well, prior to COVID, yeah.
Do you remember when, because I walked out there, because we also, it was the year that we had the group of Fleming GIS students. Because I walked out there with them all, and again, up through GRCA.
I bet Meredith will be able to tell us that, because she arranged
Because she
that.
helped.
Yeah, but yeah, that would be my best guess of when
Yeah,
it
no,
would be,
I mean,
somewhere around there.
Be rest assured that it was very much like, that we took direction from Yanaraska in
Yeah.
terms of what they wanted us to do, and we did it, and it was all approved and discussed, and motions and money.
Well, that's good. That's all we're looking for, because we were
Yeah,
just
yeah.
confused.
And Yvette would be very aware of all of this, she was involved with that, in those discussions.
To you, Chair Jackson, the reason why I was asking is I can take a look through our own records, something the clerk's department does, and I'll send anything relevant to Chris that might help inform this.
So,
Through you in trying to narrow down the time frame, Jerry Barker was the person we were dealing with, and I think we got the survey done. The township was doing that anyway. I don't know whether we actually surveyed into Ganaraska's part unless,
no,
but like
but it was all being done in conjunction with the
we made
creation of
sure-
Canada Transit.
we made sure we stayed on the road allowance, and
Yeah.
where we ended it was where the trail went into Ganaraska from the road allowance at the other end. So,
Anyway,
or
there's-
at least that's the way I remember it.
There's ample evidence for your side to be able to say. yes,
Right.
this is-
Yeah, it's good, yeah.
Yeah, and in
Yeah.
fact, the township was also involved, when we expanded along Dial Detour, it involved, necessary culvert repair and replacement along Dial Detour. I mean, it
Which
was a
was all part
tremendous
of the same.
expense that we went to.
And the
to-
township, I'm pretty sure, because it was a one-off expense that our budget couldn't do, I think the township did pay for the survey as a sort of a special one-off cost request.
Yes, and
So it was like 10, 15 grand.
$13,000 was about, it was expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the stakes are still
well, I bet they are.
there.
I
Yeah.
can Still see them.
They're not all easily found, but there's still some of the stakes with the flags on them.
Yeah, I mean, the stakes, still Sean uses them to show him where to stop spraying. Out there.
Okay, all right, so we'll leave that as pending. That was staff. I'm confused as to why number 13 is on here.
To you, Chair Jackson, this is an addition by me. This is something that I consulted with our clerk. This was previously on the work plan where any issues on the trails that were required maintenance or monitoring that was raised during the trail report are added. I just have the item that Vice Chair McDonald has mentioned in several previous meetings, including this one as well. And if there's any lingering issues or something that needs to be monitored, it will be put on here unless the committee has some.
So that's specific to Baxter Creek Trail?
Yeah, I believe so. This is in relation to the board walk, so it should be, wouldn't be Baxter's.
But 13 encompasses all trails.
All trails, if you have a specific note for another trail, and it's something that is raised in the trail report that needs to be addressed, I will add it there.
Okay. All right, any concern, discussion about that? No? Okay, I think that closes the work plan. We are on to our final items for next meeting. I think,
Chair Jackson, can we just have a motion to,
the work plan first.
put more?
Seconded by that. All in favor? Okay. So item for next meeting, workday planning. Update on draft policy. For boardwalk. Update on bridge construction by old school. Update on workday planning will include the lunch portion. Anything else?
Wait, on GCRA meeting?
Update on GCR meeting, yeah, I mean, this is all sort of part and parcel because it's already on the work plan, but,
Right.
anything else that people would like to discuss next week or next month? With the note that snow will be gone hopefully, and I think we got everything pretty much covered in the work plan.
I just had a question through you, Chair. How does it work as far as our committee doing application submissions for grant funding? Is that through the township or do we as a committee? So the reason I'm asking, so I just started a new position at the Lindsay Ag Society and I've paid for and have this new software that applies for private foundations, not public. So anything like you and I could go Google like the Slate Foundation and find out whatever.
Mhm.
And you could do a keyword search on like, so in my case is like fair, agriculture, education. We could have something specifically for like trails or recreate, like that kind of thing. And so perfect example, I found a couple, a retired farming couple in North Battleford, Saskatchewan that sponsors specifically limousine cattle and did a submission for sponsorship or funding like that. Who then, if that's the case, and it would be something that would be privately funded, would this be something that we would, as a committee, bring forward this information and then the township applies for that funding application? Like I know Trillium and all that kind of stuff is kind of generic.
Historically, it's always been Bridget
Bridget.
bringing us public opportunities and private opportunities, those individuals. Most of the time have reached out to us.
So there's the
directly.
thing,
So
like.
we're not actively searching. as
Okay.
far as-
So are you guys amenable if I happen to add into the key searches of things for trails? Because this is foundations, it's not like we're looking for, money that's not already earmarked for not-for-profits and charities kind of thing. It's not us asking for like private funding for individuals that are, but they want sponsorship namings and all this kind of stuff. I'm not saying it'll go anywhere, but
Yeah, no,
I've already
absolutely.
found probably about $25,000 of money in like 2 weeks for the Ag Society that we would have never found, so.
Okay.
Okay, all right, I'll talk with Bridget if I.
On
can
that
find
vein,
anything.
Chris, is there any potential grant for the bridge, across the bridge?
No, not at this,
None at this
not
time.
at this time,
Is that something you could maybe do retroactively sometime?
not usually.
Not usually.
No, you can't.
But
retroactively
that's
apply.
actively looked at prior to a project like this, like. bridge-
Oh, we're constantly, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and we do work with Grant Match, which
Yeah.
sends them to us all the time.
Okay,
So a grant comes out, they let us know this grant's out.
right,
Yeah.
okay. And
So if there is a grant that comes up that relates to Millbrook Valley Trails, we look into it, we pursue it, yeah.
But with that $15,000, just at interest, like the cost of that bridge, would that be considered municipal infrastructure?
Yeah.
Okay,
So it is.
so it'd be the same as replacing the bridge over Distillery Street,
I
or different?
I
because
don't know if it wouldn't fall under that kind of infrastructure,
Right,
like, yeah, no.
okay.
Parks and Street.
Yeah, no, that's for,
And that's-
recreational, it usually like the RTO 8 grant, right, like it's recreational.
Yeah,
grant that relates to trails, that's,
Okay,
yeah.
but that's actively being looked at.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and council's approved the purchase of the bridge.
The bridge was approved in capital.
Yeah,
2025.
we did.
Yeah. So I do have it, it's $12,890. So it's a little.
Yeah,
cheaper.
I thought it was about 13.
Yeah, it's a
That's
little
the
cheaper than
same.
the other one because of access and,
Yeah, that's the same quote we got months prior, right?
yeah, so it is, whenever it was there, yeah.
And do you know, will it have the same mechanism to be able to raise and lower as they did on the,
Yeah, it is, supposed to be the exact same as the other one, yeah.
okay, so depending
So
on.
they're still sending me the updated drawing, I just got the quote here, but, they're sending me the updated drawing on it, for the permit.
Okay, and were there other bids?
Just, yeah, because
Submitted?
it fell in the range,
No, did any other companies submit?
no,
Okay.
we just purchased it.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions on that? Any items for next meeting? Okay, next meeting date is April 28th at 4 P M.
Sorry, Chair Jack, just two things. One, we need a motion to add in, items discussed. I also, for the agenda of the next meeting, but also I just want to clarify, are we adding, the one suggested by Kirk Ilsley, or was that just gonna be an update for the work plan?
I'm sorry, I don't know what.
Just the update, I think, as long as it's an item on the work plan, and I'm fine with it not being a separate item. I just,
We would need a motion to add in
I'll
items
make
to
that
the agenda.
motion.
But okay, I think the only item we really need to add is, work plan update, or sorry, work day update.
The workday update, but you also rattled off update on the draft policy, or do you just want to
But those are
discuss?
already on the work plan.
Okay, no problem.
Does anybody have any other items that they would like to add that's separate from the work plan, other than workday planning? Okay, can I have a motion to accept, can I have a motion to add workday planning to the next meeting's agenda? John, second by Saskia, all in favor? Wonderful.
Thank you.
Moving on to 8.1, next meeting date, April 28th, 2025, at 4 P M. Chair report by I'm sorry, Griffin and Saskia, yes, that's right, I did read that. Can I have a motion to adjourn? John, seconded by Land, all in favor? Thank you very much, everybody.
Well, now it's officially pancakes for dinner because